All of those wonderful holes have now exposed. Pinch them together, which is what I like to do. Girls and boys, and I don't care if you are game changer. Does that make any sense? Hi guys, welcome to the channel. So today I am going to be in this property where we're turning the house back from a normal dwelling into a rental. So the job we've got to do today is we've got to change the downlights which are in the bathroom because they are non-fire rated and they keep popping bulbs like they're going out of fashion, and we're just putting a centre light in. But also we've got to patch in all the holes. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, please make sure you do. The link is in the corner. And it's a channel where we show all the hints and tips of how we go about running an electrical business. So first things first, this is the bathroom. The bathroom that is needing some TLC. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the old holes ready to go that need all changing and replacing out. Now, we've only got 3 out of the 5 that are actually working right now. It is an Artex ceiling, so I'm going to show you a little way of how we're going about repairing that as well a little bit later on. Now, as you can imagine, it's going into being a rental, so it's not going to be particularly pretty, but it's going to be functional because the client doesn't want to go down the road of completely changing all the bathrooms, skimming all the ceiling out, all the rest of it. So we have got to just put in a centre light. But first things first, I need to get some kit out of the van, because I've literally just stuffed my face with food because I am a fat boy and I needed some lunch because I've already done a job this morning. And let's get into the van, choose the kit and get back up here. One of the most important bits of kit for this is actually a set of steps because I'm not going to be able to reach anything without these. So I haven't seen in the loft, but I'm assuming there will be a loft ladder of some sort, hopefully. Oh, yes. Oh, there is a loft ladder, very nice. Oh. Oh, so close. Hold on, let's put you somewhere. Let's try and find you somewhere to sit. There you go. Sit there, behave. Right. Oh, beautiful. So fingers crossed, it's not too heavily boarded, because if it is, it's going to be an issue. Right, let's go and have a look. Right, let's jump in and have a look. Let's see what we're working with. Right. There is a light of some sort. Woo, beautiful. Let there be light. Right, okay. Looks like some boarding that's gone on. So we've got our extractor, which is obviously here, and then where somebody's sort of carved out some of the holes where the downlights are. So believe it or not, that actually helps a little bit. And there is some loose boards and all the rest of it. So that's great. What I need to do is figure out where my main supply is, because I doubt very much that this came originally with downlights. So somewhere, I imagine there's going to be a junction box of some sort. I'm trying to figure out where that is. Wow, look at the state of this. Oh my God, look at that. Jesus, I'm hoping that's dead. Oh God, here we go. Ooh, nice. That is one burnt out shower, so looks like they've had some new stuff done and some okay. So you know when I say, yeah, things get hot, that's why. So that downlight there has obviously ran really hot and that has disintegrated. That lovely. So as you can see, this couldn't come soon enough. Now, I'm not sure when the last inspection was done on this property, but I definitely would be advising that this happens. So what I'm going to do, I'll start moving some of these boards, get some of these boards out of the way, and we'll have a little bit of an inspection. I might have found that joint. There's a driver here. Oh man, it's a bit rough. It's a bit rough. So let's pop you over here. So while I sort of clear some of this out, there's a massive, oh, here we go. So I think I found it. So this is my mains for the switch, and then it leads out into junction boxes, LED drivers, sorry, because these are 12 volts that are in. So we'll go and kill the power. I'll get my bag in. because we need to obviously, I need my voltage indicator. Come on, use the right word. Use your words, Mike, use your words. And we'll make sure that that is off. But what I might do, by doing that, it might actually kill the light up here. And luckily enough, I got a torch. So I suppose you're going to want to know what light we're putting in this masterpiece that is up here. And yeah, let's kill the power first, and then I'll show you. So you may have gathered the power's gone off. So I've been downstairs, turned it obviously off, and we've now got our voltage indicator. So voltage indicator, really, really important. Safety, you cannot do this job without it. And a proving unit. Now what the proving unit does is make sure that that is working correctly, because if you don't have this, how do you know whether these are working? Simple thing, what it does on there, shows you that that is working. That's better. That is working. And then that way you know when you're testing this junction box, which is just there, is dead. Now, there is a link in the description below. If you are looking at purchasing said items, there's a link down there. Buy them directly through that. There is other ones on the market. It's not sponsored by those, one iota, but I tend to find that the Mega one, it works really, really well. The other good thing about the back of this, sounds like a real sales pitch now, but there's a magnet on here. So when this is aluminium, but if it was metal, you know, you stick that on there. So if you're doing a big distribution board, so like that, you can stick that on, and yeah, you've got that to hand at all times. Right, let's just check that, make sure that is working. So once I've got rid of this, we can make sure this is all dead. Like I say, we've checked to make sure that's all good. So I've got no voltage there, and this is, you're supposed to check that again, make sure that you're all good. Yeah, we're all good. Get off, and then you go back again. So there you go. So safe circuit. I can now strip out all the bits that I need to. So we're going to work backwards. I'm going to get all those downlights out, chop all the old flex and stuff out, get rid of that, and then we can work backwards and we'll get the light fitted that we're going to do. So the idea behind this, by doing this, is actually to keep it so it's as maintenance free for the client, so they have less downtime when they've got tenants in here. So, I said at the start of the video, it's all broken down. Oh, that was all exposed. So, live conductors, all on show. Not great. Right, so while we're clambering out of the loft, so we've just stripped all that old wiring out now. So we've got nothing connected. I'll stick that light in the corner. So we've got nothing connected to these downlights. So I can now start taking them down, getting them out of the way. And so we're going to be fitting just a standard bulkhead light that we've got. It's fully colour selectable, so you can go warm white, cool white, daylight even. It's about as basic as they come. It's IP rated, so obviously it's appropriate for the bathroom, and it should give the best maintenance-free program for the client. They're fairly straightforward. Usually they're quarter of a turn, like that, and it will come off. So on here you've got your colour selectable bits and bobs, and then you've got a little quarter of a turn. And usually there's no fixed. It's usually swings on here. Yeah. So, and then you've got your LED driver on there. So you've got your mains coming in, and then obviously through your grommet at the back, and that keeps it all your IP rating correct. So let's go and get a rubbish bag. In fact, no we won't, we'll use the box of this new rubbish bag, and we will take some of these out. But I have just seen the customer has got, oh, I'm a bit posh there, haven't I? A new, what's it called? A hop-up. It might be easier than my ladders, but we shall see. We will try the step ladders first, won't we? So one thing, a little tip for getting these out, right? Because these have probably welded themselves in because of the paint. So once you've cracked the seal, it shouldn't be too bad. But on some of the downlights, right, and this is a top tip coming up, right, is when you're pulling downlights down, as soon as you can see the tabs, you better either do two things. You either get your fingers out of the way or try and pinch them together, which is what I like to do. Because when that goes off, it's like a mouse trap that will just whack across your fingers and your knuckles. And I don't care if you are Timmy Tough Knuckles, that hurts, all right? All right, it hurts. So if you see what I mean on these, there's a little bit there. Not going to do it on these because the setup they are, but on some of the downlights, they will literally go bang straight down and make all the big boys cry. So yeah, so there's a top tip for you. So one down, 3 billion to go. Not really. Nothing like a bit of dramatisation. But it's a nice straightforward job, but I just thought I would share with you guys one of, you know, it's a little bit less glamorous, don't get me wrong, than what we're used to. But hey ho, gotta pay the bills, girls and boys. Right, all of those wonderful holes have now exposed and I've got 5 to do. So what I'm gonna say is, gonna try and potentially could cover that one with said light. Yeah, let's do that. That'll be one. Right, let's get the downlight. The light. Let's see what she looks like. So that is going to be over there, like so. And I think that will be a nice location for it. Right, okay, so I'm going to go get some cable because I'm going to sort of do this in reverse. So I'm going to wire this up, whack her on the ceiling, and then we'll go into that junction box. But I believe I'm going to change that. So 2 secs, let's go and get some cable. Beautiful. And as always, we are using the Doncaster Earthshore cable, actually cable for champions. And the good thing about this is I don't have to mess about with the sleeving because it comes pre-sleeved with the earthing. So another job I ain't got to do. So while I'm at the bottom of the stairs, I thought it would be worthwhile grabbing as much kit as I could. So what I'm going to do, we're going to wire this up down here and then we're going to sort our life out a little bit more. It should be, in theory, should be a lot easier doing it this way because then I've got a little bit of a flexi poos. Yes, probably using too much cable. Whatever, don't get too mad. So I always like to pre-pierce, that's pierce, all right, stop being cheeky. Pre-pierce the rubber grommet at the back because I find it goes through the hole a lot easier. It's steady, stop being like that. Bloody smutty. You mind out the gutter, man. So, the Earthshore cable is genuinely a cable of choice for me. It is brilliant. Like I say, now I'm just ready to wire that straight up. Don't have to do any sleeving, no faffing about, other than me just doing the video, making it look effortless. As always. Retaining clip is on and in place, and it's always better to just leave a little bit of slack in here because then you can dress it, and obviously as time goes on, if you do need to change anything, you can sort that out. Now there is some mounting points on here, so what I'm going to do is going to drill them down here with the aid of a drill bit, and I use the Fixture raw plugs when I can find them in my pouch of dreams. So the Fixture raw plugs, these ones, they're a 6mm hole and they are the duo powers. So I'm going to pre-drill this and then that should make life a lot easier for marking out on that ceiling. The duo powers are good because you can use them for everything. You can use them in plasterboard, masonry, you name it, you can do it. Now the best thing I've found with those duo powers, right, is on, you know, this no, hang on, what they're called? Thermalite blocks. So in all new builds, they'll have thermalite blocks. Those duo powers hold like mad. Now, we all know as Sparkies, it's really annoying that you can't get a good fix in on it, but the duo powers really grab into that block. Little tip with that is as you're drilling into it, don't put your SDS on hammer, because you don't need it anyway on those thermalites, but we're just all lazy and you get into using it on hammer all the time. Take it off hammer and it makes the hole actually a little bit tighter as well. Hammer that in on the 6mm, and I tell you now, it is absolute game changer. Trust me, all right? Believe in me, and then leave it in your comments below when you go, actually, Mike, yeah, you were right. What an absolute weapon of a plug. So I've just marked on the ceiling my new holes. So I am going to use the 6mm now to go through. Wonderful. Like I say, it's not, the job isn't a tough job at all. It really isn't. It's just doing the right processes. That's all it is. Luckily enough, it does make life easier when you use some decent kit, in fairness. So, next thing is finding the holes. So, like I've said, I'm going to put a long enough, flexible piece. We're going to get that up there, like that. Like that. So that's in that loft space, so then I can faff about that afterwards to whatever I need. So I won't tighten that all the way up yet, because if I do, it's going to make it hard to find the other holes. Okay, so that's all fixed up. Like I said, leave the flex in here, so there is a option to maneuver if required. So it's got plenty of space on there. I'm not going to put the cover on just yet, because I don't know from the factory which way it's set, whether it's a warm white or cool white, so we'll come to that in a little bit. So let's jump into the loft, then we'll do our final connections back up there. At least that part of the job is done, so we'll get the power back on and all the rest of it. But I am in two minds, because the junction boxes, right? I'll explain to you more about the junction boxes. So the junction box itself, that one that is up there, let's grab the torch. So the junction box itself it's classed as a non-maintenance free junction box, okay? So which is the traditional style of junction box, which you can see, right? So that being said, if this wasn't boarded, okay, it's accessible. When it's boarded over, in my eyes, it's no longer accessible. Now, looking at this property, the chances are that the homeowner is going to put the boarding back down to give storage space to someone else. So in my mind, I think that junction box needs to be changed, and we'll put it as a maintenance free with the Wagos and all the rest of it. Does that make any sense? So the reason behind it is because these have got screw terminals. Over years, they can become loose, arcs out, and that's what causes fires. So anywhere where you see a junction box like this, it needs to be replaced, really, if it's inaccessible. If it's in a loft space, it's completely accessible, not a problem. But I strongly believe that this is all going to get boarded back over, which would be a problem. So let's change that. Let's do the right thing, change it out, and at least I know then that I can sleep at night going, do you know what, I've done everything in my eyes the right way. For the sake of probably a tenner in bits, because we all know that Wagos or Wagos, whatever you want to call it, are quite pricey. But hey, they are what you need to use, and I love them dearly. So Wago, if you want to sponsor, hit me up, you know what I mean? Let's sort this out. So we'll just quickly go through this. So as always, I always label absolutely everything. So there's light there is the extractor fan, and then along here we've got the loops as well. So we've got the 2 loops. So they're now in the Wagos and Ideal connectors. They are the 2 that are chosen for today. So I've also put sleeving on. So on here we've sleeved up the switch lines on here. I've also put a bit of blue sleeving on the black just because I thought, why not? I'll go for it. There's no real requirement for that, but I thought I'll just put it on anyway. It's just obviously the old colours there. Now, I've now got to squeeze that lot within there, and then that can be tidied up and put in. But I think you'll all agree that's actually a better way of doing it rather than having that still underneath the floor, because it's definitely going to get covered no matter whatever we think. That is 100% going to get covered over. So once that bit's done, I can then re-energise, get all that sorted, and then I can show you how we're going to go about patching these holes in and making them look like $1,000,000. While I'm sort of tidying up the loft space, right? So recently, I've had a few people DM me and ask where they get certain bits of kit that I on a daily, right? So there's no gatekeeping in this channel. I've always done it as a real world channel as possible. Yes, I do get sent stuff from time to time, which is amazing, and I make no bones about it. That's how the business works, all right? So obviously we've got a social media presence, companies want to work with us, but I'll only work and rep stuff genuinely that I like and I'll use myself and put my own hand in my pocket and pay for, okay? So what I've then done is I've started recently putting in the description basically an affiliates link through Amazon, right? And on there's loads of different bits and bobs that I put in from time to time, and it depends on what we're doing in the videos and stuff. But there are tools that I genuinely use every single day. Even a guy messaged me yesterday and asked about what tester I used, and I used the Mega X1. It would have been nice to have been sponsored for that, but you know, it wasn't sponsored by them at all, and I paid for that out of my own pocket at great expense. But that is the tester I've used. Well, Mega is the brand of tester I've used since I left college, and I've stuck with it. I've tried loads of other ones, but it just sits well with me. So there is a link to that in the description, and I know the guy's been out and bought one of those through my affiliate link. So that obviously a big part of that. I don't get paid masses of money on that. It is what it is. But what it does allow is it helps a little bit for me to keep creating more content. I know years ago, Nick, off of obviously Nick Bundy, I'd like to class Nick as a friend as well. I remember him making a similar video at that time when he was at the subscriber count that I'm at, and people were slating him, this, that and the other. But people don't realise when you're running these businesses, and obviously when I'm filming this, it slows down the process. So you never actually earn your true potential when you're doing the filming. You just don't. It's just, you know, I'd earned so much more money if I had left the camera alone. Don't show you guys everything. So that is why I do it. So if you can get behind it, fantastic. And if you can't get behind it and you don't want to buy anything through it, that's absolutely fine. Even down, right, there's stuff on there is like the pencils, right? So the pencils I use, I'm pretty sure they're on there. So the pencils, there's an affiliate link on there to the pencils I use, which aren't expensive. But the reason why I do it, obviously it all helps pay the bills and keeps the lights on. But if nothing else, subscribe to the channel and show your love that way. Even if you learnt something new on the old hints and tips, you know, it's all about sharing, and that's what we like to do. So, but thank you very much anyway. If you've just clicked onto the channel and you've enjoyed watching it, then I've won that way anyway. So right, let's go and show you how we fill these holes in. Okay, so power is back on. So moment of truth, really. Ooh, I'm nervous. No, I'm not really. Bosh. So light is on. She is plenty bright enough. So that does the bathroom plenty. I don't think we need to mess about with any of the settings. So we'll get that on. Ooh, very nice, very nice. So we'll get that lid back on now. Like I say, there's little dip switches on there, so we can change that. So if that was a warm white, it would probably be too dark because there is no natural light in that room and it will be not great, in fairness. So I'd go with cool white. So let's get that cover on. Like I said, the cover itself is literally just a quarter of a turn. There's nothing more jazzy about it other than it's just the old diffuser, should we say. And there we have it. So we're on to now filling up all the holes. Now, I bet you're wondering, how the hell are you going to do that? And it's pretty straightforward, but we need to make sure that we've got the right side plasterboard, which looks like to me that it is a 12.5mm. I've got both. So the 12.5mm and then 9.5mm, I think it is, plasterboard. Obviously there's a little bit of a skimmer-rooney on there, but let's go and get that out of the van. Lovely fan. So I'll leave that off, but it's all working. Just wanted to make sure, because you never know. So we need to go to the van, get, turning stuff off. Hang on, bear with, just turning the light off. Yeah, so I'll tell you what, I've got a tape measure. Let's measure the plasterboard. So, oh no, we have got, I would say that is the 12.5mm. So we've got hole diameter of 60. So probably, I'd say a 62mm bit. We need to get the hole saws out. We need to get some timber out. Oh, it's just anything else. So I need to cut some timber as well, because there's no point bringing absolutely tons and tons of timber in. So we'll cut that outside. We're going to cut those at about 150mm, something like that. So it should give me enough space. I'm going to need one, so I'm going to need 5 of those. And yeah, go and do them. Okay, so the successful way, or the best way, to figure out whether it's the right right size, if you get your actual hole saw and see, so luckily enough I've got the right size for these downlights, right? But if we didn't have it, what the best thing to do is go a little bit bigger and you'll be fine. So this is 64mm. So what I now need to do is put that in our arbor. And the clever thing about this arbor, right, is that you can put an additional one on. So if you had a smaller hole, you put that in, and then you want to make the hole bigger. It's a great bit of kit. So then we'll use our Dade, which is a dust and debris eliminator. There you go, shout out to you. And then we can, as we're drilling through, that catches all the dust so it doesn't go all in your face and all over the bathroom. But we don't need that, so I now need to go and cut 5 holes. Now you may have noticed, depending on the editing or not, is that some of the timber split, and yeah, not good. So we'll get 5 holes drilled out downstairs, and then we'll be back within un momento. So that is how it's going to end up looking. So I'm going to show you now how I've gone about doing that, and there's a few little tips to make that happen and make your life a lot easier, right? So you've got your bit of batten. It doesn't need to be anything too jazzy, right? Because it's all going to get covered over. So what you want to do is put a screw in that you can grab hold of, right? Because this is where a lot of people go wrong. So you stick a little bit of a screw in so you can hold it tight, push that through the gap, and now you've got somewhere for that to pull against, okay? So I'm using, yes, they're 50mm screws. I understand they're too long, right? That's what I've got. So now that's screwed in, you want to make sure that the head goes just underneath the plaster surface, because when you fill this, you don't want the heads sitting proud. And as you're fixing that down, you're pulling onto that screw, which in turn gives you something so that timber sits flat to the bottom of the actual board. Now I've gone with a 9.5mm board because The 12.5mm is actually just a little bit too big. And by doing it this way, I've actually got somewhere for the filler to go. So that's basically what we've got right now. So as you can see, it's all covered in. So that's all sorted. So we've got plenty of room. So I'll get the filler and stuff on. So that's not going anywhere. It's got that one. Got another 2 more to do here. And then I'll show you how we're going to fill it and make it look semi-like Artex. Enough, especially in this room, to get away with. So we're now on to the filling process, because I've already done all, well, cover the big holes. So as most Sparkies do, they want to be in and out quick. They don't want to faff about mixing stuff. So we've got some pre-mixed filler. It's nothing fancy about it at all. It says dry in 30 minutes, but the thickness this bad boy's going on, that ain't gonna happen, and I'm not waiting 30 minutes for that to be done. So it's a bit weird because it's a bit like foam, this stuff, but it dries obviously rock hard. But we're trying to, it's not about the smoothness, it's about trying to get it so it's got that sort of textured finish still. So wish me luck. I'm gonna try and get that sorted. And the idea is that I use my smaller filler spreader and get it all pushed into the big joints first, right? And then that is all those major bits covered, right? Obviously gonna drop a little bit doing it this way, but, and the screw holes. The main thing is that it's level, okay? So that's what you wanna make sure you focus on, that it's level, because without it being level, it doesn't really work. Okay, so we've pushed all those bits in, and now we can work on the areas of making it a little bit rougher. Now, you can use a brush, but what I tend to do is just get some more bits and sort of dress it in accordingly, and you leave some of the spikes and drips and all the rest of it in there. So I'm going to show you that one. So if you can see there, right? So all I've done is gone level, pushed it all in nice and tight, and then I've gone back over with some more and just been really, really rough with it, as you can see. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not supposed to be smooth, but if you leave that like that to set, by the time that's all painted, you'll barely notice it. Honestly, it's a little bit of it looks worse than what it is. But in all honesty, it does come out really, really well. But the key is to push all the filler into all the gaps so it all holds in nice and tight. Push it flat and then go again. So yeah, so join me back in a second once I've done all the rest of it, and then you'll see. Okay, so that's me. I have packed everything up. Everything's out of here. I don't need to do a massive cleanup because they are going through the house. And they need to, because like I say, they're getting it ready for rental. But let's show you the finished result. So there we have it. So we've got the 1, 2, 3, and then the 4 over there. So like I said, I think you can agree that once that's painted over, all the ceilings all the same colour, you're not really going to tell. We're going to sort of blend them all in and it'll all look absolutely hunky-dory. But I thought I would show you this little job, because it is, like I said, it's a real world channel. We're trying to make sure that obviously, you know, it's not just all the fancy jobs that everybody seems to think that us as Sparkies, that's all we ever do. This is about as real world job as you can possibly get. So thank you very much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. And if you have enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe if you've not already done it. And if you have already subscribed, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And we will see you on the next one.